Hello, welcome back. All right, I guess let's just jump into things. Let's switch over to the student preview and make it look like you see it. And we are on studio session 11 out of 16. We only have a couple weeks left of this course. That's amazing. We're cruising through it. It ends at the 8-week mark for the college. This is a 3-credit 8-week course. I hope you all knew that when you signed up. So yeah, we're coming down to the nitty gritty. Just a few more classes left, but we're doing great. We all know what to do. I have no new things for you for lettering expressions. Taught you a lot of things to do. Again, have fun with these. I will just say this again. Make sure you're not adding. It should only be type and glyphs. All right, just make sure you're doing that. Typographic challenges, make sure you're checking that you don't have widows, that we're not getting too close to anything. You know, like that whole idea of where, you know, there's got to be some distance. The text shouldn't be touching an image. Do you want people always touching you? No, just back off. Give the text and that book cover some space. There's plenty of room to design, and that's why these are like little challenges. Is like, how can I work this space? You never know what a client's going to give you. Like it's not always like, I think we think about it like every page is, you know, 8.5 by 11. It's not true. You know, every poster is the same size. It's not true. Like you're going to be thrown, you know, like, hey, this is the size we want it, and you're like, oh, that's really weird. Okay, here's my, I got to work it into that size. So you know, work with the challenges. I think we're doing pretty good. These are the 2. All right, design mission part 2. I think I'll do second. I want to do the portfolio builder. So your original portfolio builder part 1 was to develop 6 icons that represent you. Perfect. You get those in. You're going to turn those in. I think they're due tonight. I will check them tomorrow, so you can then make changes and then do Portfolio Builder 3, which is going to be the easy part. It's kind of fun. I don't know if you've looked, if anybody's looked yet. I'm just going to clear something out from the trash. So I don't know if anybody's checked it yet, but there's a reason why we did what we did. And I'm going to download it. You're making a little Rubik's Cube. So 6 things that represent you are going to be placed on this die line for a box that would create, if you printed it out, you can print it out at home, cut it out, and fold it where it says to fold, and you'll have a little cube. And each side is a representation of you. So let's open that up so you can see it. Now, what we're going to work with on this one, and I'm not going to fill it in. I'm going to let you all fill it in, is it's all there. As you can see in the layers file. Well, I actually have an extra layer in there for no reason. But this is how a die line like this would come if it's supplied, or you would get instructions from a packaging company and like, here it is. Here's how it's laid out. And then you don't move anything. You don't mess with it. So like these green stripes over here represent glue. So that's where they know they'd either put like a glue tab or whatever, and the machine that they use knows that it only glue gets here. The die lines here are in cyan. And those are what gets cut out. So if you were to print this at home and cut it out, you would cut out along the cyan, which you can see then we have bleed all the way around it. So if there's a shift, we have black showing. So that's, again, that importance of working with bleed, having something go past the edge, because when they're cutting this out, if there's a shift, we don't want any white. We want black to show because that's the color of the background. So that's the cyan. We have fold lines. Yellow is fold lines. Again, they go through these giant presses, and they have the one that cuts it. It's the die line. It's literally called a die. And somebody makes a metal form and it cuts out the piece. But within that metal form, it has dull parts. And those dull parts press on the paper hard enough to create a crease. And that's what the yellow lines are. So everywhere there's yellow, it would make a crease to make it easier to fold. And now that I see it, I'm missing two. I should have a fold line here and a fold line here. I'll correct that. I'm gonna make a note. See, that's why you got to double check your work. So just getting out my paper, I will correct that file. If you've already downloaded it, it's fine, but I'm gonna correct that file. Add fold lines. All right. Do that right after class and re-upload. So that's the fold lines. So we have places where it folds, it presses in, and it makes it easier for somebody to make that box. So it's got the glue, and everything's there, and then somebody's like pop, 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 and they can fold it up, and then you have a cardboard Rubik's Cube. Now I have all these. This is side, you pick which sides you want to do. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's all images. Like if you say, like for mine, I had disc golf. All disc golf would go on this one side in a single color. Then you do, a burger, all here, 9 of them. And they all need to look the same color background for the 9 sides. Get them to match. You can click on the stickers. These are, all selectable. So you can make sure that color matches, or the color is the new thing to say, the hip new thing to say, colorways, that your colorways are like a Rubik's Cube. I hope everybody knows what that is. For the people, for some reason, who don't know what it is. This is a Rubik's Cube, that toy. And it's got 6 sides, and each side is a different color. But I want, again, what we talked about, I want, when I had that original assignment, it was 6 distinct color backgrounds, and you're doing 6 distinct icons. So each group gets a set of 9, so that when you fold it up, it will make a little Rubik's Cube. Now the big one here, so when you're going to turn in your assignments, I'm going to look them over. I'm going to suggest any tweaks to do, make the tweaks, and then start bringing them in. You need to make sure, when you do this, all those things to get things centered perfectly and aligned perfectly is what I'm going to be looking for. You got to find center points. I'm going to work on 6 here. Here's the center. And if I just draw, I'm just doing arbitrary. I actually wanted the circle, but say that's my icon, then we need to make sure that when you go across, that it's equally spaced. When you place it in, that we're getting things centered. And because there's a lot going on, my marks aren't showing up. So you got to then for your help, I'm going to open up stickers, and then should you pull in guides for everything? I want it perfectly centered there. Perfectly centered there. You might have to pull a bunch of guides to get it. So each time you place your item, it is perfectly centered. And generally, once you do, see, I need a guide there. And generally, once you set it up once, it gets easier. So then if I pull this across, get it centered. I'm looking for that magenta center line. And then it went away. I'm going to pull a guide here. Because once you start pulling guides, they go all the way across for everybody. You know what I mean? It doesn't take that long, and it ensures ultimate accuracy. And then I can lock that, so I'm not playing with those stickers. This is my icon per se. But I do want you, I want the backgrounds. These should be a color. If you're oh, my color was, whatever. Hold on. There we go. So, make sure your background color is okay, these are my orange background icons. They're all going in there. and then you have your parts on top. And then once you get the 3 across, you just have to grab all 3 and bring them down and then get them to line up. And then here, use the arrow keys, like just tap. Oh, perfect. And then just again. And then get that right in the middle. See how I got things right in the middle. And that would be like the first set. Oh, that's trippy in my eyes. So that's what I want you to do. So you're going to fill your Rubik's Cube with icons that all represent you. There's 6 different sides that should all be a different color, just like the real thing. And when you turn it, it's a new thing about you. Pick a direction. Which way do you want them all to go? And then think about, well, if I have them, if there's a top, do you like, eventually something's always going to be upside down. So like you think about like, how do you want that? Like if this is top, 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 which way should this one face and which way should this one, if it's top, or if you ran your tops the other way, just some things to think about. So yeah, and that's what I want you to do. Any questions about the Rubik's Cube? All right, cool. So yeah, pretty down, pretty simple, pretty easy. Don't save. And like I said, I'll upload that one within minutes after the class for you with the die lines that are supposed to be there. All right. Let's work on that background. Part 2. Design mission part 2. The museum. Was it night at the museum? All right. It's going to look crazy. What? But once you look at it and download it, it's the same thing repeated. It's the difficult part is coloring it. But again, all you have to do is like literally make one, for most of it, like for that bottom part where it looked really crazy, you're just making one shape. Like once you do one design, the rest is easy. You're just doing one of something and then carrying it over and doing one of something and carrying it over. It's pretty cool. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do the background, and then you're going to put in your animals that you made last time. All right. So here's the file. And I have, again, all your layers. Bear, puffin, whales. Then they get mixed in. Ice, fish, clouds, water, big whale, glacier, sky. Like, play around. You may have to reorder things. This is it all finalized. All right. That's everything in there. So you're working on the puffins. You're working on the fish. Oh, they're like, due today. The bear and the whales. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're just going to do the background, which is the sky, the mountains. Boom. This will take you 5 minutes to do 2 parts. These clouds, 5 minutes. These clouds a little bit longer. This whale, super easy. Like they're all fairly easy. You just have to like kind of understand how to do them. So I'm going to turn off the outline so you can see it. And as you can see, the water is just these circles repeated, but with the same color, but with the tint of this inside, the fill is a different tint than the stroke. And each one changes about like 10 or 5%. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16. I think I did them in 2s, maybe. But you'll just find like how many should you do? You can do 2. So it'd be like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 or so. And when I say that, when I'm doing that 5, 10, those are percentages. So if my lowest one is at 100, is this one 95? And then this is 90%, 85. So this is where some math comes in to Illustrator, which is perfectly cool. You know, there's no big deal about it. But let's start busting in. First one, I'm just going to do the sky, and then I'm going to turn it off. Sky. Boom. You just draw this like, it just needs to go below everything. And I'm going all the way to the bleed or past the bleed marks, right? Oh, am I in the wrong? Oh, I was on the wrong switching group. Delete. So there we have it. I'm going to turn off the stroke. And for the fill, let's grab that color picker, go to gradient, let's rotate it. I'm going to hold down shift, and I'm just going to pull this down. And then, oh, I'm going to undo. I grab the pull this down. Giant cursor is a curse. So there we go. There's the sky. Done. Lock that, turn it off. Mountain. Where do I have it? Oh, I don't have one for mountain. You can call it glacier. Oh, I'm just gonna put it with sky then. Like why change? Because it's easier. So make a layer for mountain, or it could be the glacier, but we use the glacier for below the bear. Make a mountain layer for yourself. Explore. All right, it's just this background. Pen tool. I'm going to zoom in. Get as close as you need. Start from way far out, and I'm just going to pen tool across. Hold shift where you need to. You know, straight lines. Why not hold shift? Go below. So see this whale? I'm going to hold down the space bar so I can move over. See this whale is interrupt this on my, but that's fine. Just go below him, because when we build the whale, we'll work that out. And we'll hold down shift, come up to here, hold down shift. And I'm only holding down shift for the horizontal lines. Go all the way out. And then I'm going to come all the way down. So I'm going to zoom out, and you're going to see this is sometimes the confusing part. It's filling on the wrong side. Oh no. Well, that's because the majority, this point to this point, it's like a bowl. But as soon as I go down, and I want to go down below the water, and this can just be really big and arbitrary. Down, across, and back up. And there we have it. And then because it's the same fill. So when we turn on the sky layer, we have that difference. But then you can be like, well, now that I see them side by side, I'm going to check the gradient on my sky and maybe bring it up. There we go. So now those mountains in the background stand out a bit more. These top clouds, let's work on the clouds. Top one, this is a bunch of pills. Take a rectangle, make it this size. I'm gonna switch out so we're not always just working in the gradient. All right, there's that, right? All I do, there you go. Just use that corner tool on the rectangle, make it a big pill, done. Now, how do we build? Oh, look at this. This is that. So I just need to duplicate it. I'm going to bring one up, duplicate it, and then I just need to build this little cutout right here. So all I'm going to do is draw 2 rectangles, one overlapping. Oh. And then I'm going to cut out of it. And then because I want that circle. You could do a circle. This could be any shape you want. Or it could be, I'll do the ellipse tool. I'm going to zoom in. You could do a rectangle and then round it, but that's kind of dumb. So then I'm going to I'm holding down shift, going to make my circle. I'm going to hold down shift, get it pretty perfect. Now I want it halfway, and I'm going to grab this and that, and I'm going to move it here. All right. And now I'm going to move it up. I got to jump down. And now I'm going to go to the shape builder tool. Oh, you got to select everything first. I get too excited. I forget to do things. Shape builder. Yes, 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 yes. And then no, no. And I should be able to delete this out. Delete, 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 delete. And you got to get all those little parts. And you can keep that, or then if you're like, oh, I don't want that bubbled up like that, you just fix it. Take these tools and adjust it. I gotta zoom in more. Again, remember that zoom in, like don't deny your eyes and your back the zoom. And you could even just be like, I'm just gonna get rid of that one. Why don't I just get rid of that one? Like the more of those points you get rid of, the better you can get your items to look. There we go. I'm going to zoom out. Just a minute or two to do that. I'm going to zoom back in. And then there, make a copy of it. And this one, I rotated. And there you have it. And then you grab all 3. Make them the cloud color. There you go. So again, we're just looking at how to build things with simple shapes and combining them to how you want them. This is circles and lines. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with the biggest one. You're going to make a series of circles and then cut out the middle and then just use the same one and delete the parts you don't need. So I did this similar to what project did we do? Where the poster with the arcs, I did lines and then I turned my lines into shapes. And then that's how I got what would be called a transparent line in the middle. So no matter what was behind it. So we're just going to start. The first one you start with is, first we're going to change the color. The first one we're going to start with is just a circle. And then the other ones will be stroked. So first one's going to be a fill, and then we'll work from there. That's what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to make my first one. All right. And I'm going to fill it. And this is just so you guys can see it, so everybody can see it. And now I can do more. Now I always want to pull from that center because I want it to be even all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do copy, edit, paste in place. And now I'm going to make it bigger. And then, whoa, there's a delay in when I let go sometimes. And then I'm going to swap the fill for the stroke. Now I want this to be right in the middle. And I'm holding down Shift and Alt. All right. And then I'm going to increase my stroke. And these are a bit off. They're off, so we'll just realign. Boom, boom. I can grab them both, and then if I want to shift it down to make sure like it's more in line with my drawing, or I can just go. So now I take that outlined one, and I'm going to copy, edit, paste in place, hold down Shift and Alt, and grow it. There's something. And then I'm going to do the same. Copy, edit, paste in place. Grow it. I'm going to do it one more time. I think there's a big one, and so you need to make sure you have all the parts. Edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And one more. All right. Now I'm going to zoom out a bit. And I think if I compare this one to this one, that's the biggest one I need. There's none bigger. So I have this. That's my starting point. Now all I'm going to do is go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And now all of those rings are solid shapes. And I'm just going to start with one. So I have my setup, and I'm going to start at the top. And each time I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to leave one on the side and work and start to duplicate from the middle, and then like remove anything I don't need to remove. So this one is just the two center ones. And I'm going to go and delete the last three. I grab them. 1, 2, 3, delete. There we go. This one, I'm going to grab it. And this looks correct. Ooh. Yeah. What am I missing? Oh yeah, I know why. Driving me crazy. All right. This one, we tab it over. Get pretty good. This one is missing this ring. Is it missing this one? Yep. And now, as if you can see, it's got actually, I'm going to delete this just to show you. It's got a full fill there, right? All you need to do is grab the direct select, click on the inside line, and hit delete twice. And that's how you get that to fill correctly. Pretty easy once you kind of know what you're doing. So I'm going to do this one. All right. And it's got it. I think this is missing. Delete, delete, delete. Oh, I wanted that last one. Undo. Go to my direct select, and then I hit delete twice. And there you have it. I'm going to do another one. And again, I'm just copying these over each time. Come on, there we go. Getting them centered up and deleting what I don't need. And then remember to always undo. If you're like, oh, I did one and I didn't need to do it, just undo. Oh, these all stay. That was easy. So that's how you start to build those circle clouds. You just do it once and then you just delete out what you don't need. You're not building it each time over and over and over. That would take forever. This is just, you do it once and remove what you don't need. Now then you just have to add the lines. So you're just gonna make a rectangle. And all I did was just have the rectangles just go into the line where they need to go, or into the circle. So if I pull across and it lines up directly with the center and it lines up with that bottom, you're perfect. But like this one goes all the way across. So I stopped it, like here, or you can nudge things up and down if you want. I'm going to just make another one. This one just goes across. This one doesn't need to go so far. You just do that. And that's how you get that look. These I'll just pull longer, to here, into here. And then when you build that circle, it's just going to add to it. So that's how you go about making those. So it's make the circles with the stroke and the correct thickness, outline the stroke so you get shapes, you have a starter, and then when you're done with all those, you do this. I do this all the time. And I start to see it more. This you just then throw over here when you're done and you keep it. It's off the artboard. Nobody's going to see it, but it's there in case something happens in the future. I do that all the time. Like I clean these up for you students, but if you would see, like I had spare clouds over here, like everything, I have a spare one in case I do something, because all you have to do is just drag it over, make a spare one. It, like save it for later. Don't delete it and be like, I'm cleaning up absolutely everything. You leave this stuff off to the side and it doesn't get seen as long as it's not like within the artboard area. The whale. Super easy. Big whale. There's a gradient on it. Big deal. So we're going to go to our pen tool. Again, I want to start real low. It's in the water. Let's flip flop that. And then just make a whale. I'm going to come back and adjust. But it's below, the lowest part of that. I'm going to zoom in and then zoom in or zoom out and then get it nice. Sometimes the crazy part is like you do this more than once. So this is why. This is where practice comes in. This is where doing it. Like now that I'm doing it again, this is like maybe my third time going through this. And then I start to look at it. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should improve that. I should switch that. I should have changed that. But you don't, unless you're doing it a lot, like really you're putting in your time, then you start to notice those things and you start to look at it and you go beyond like, what the tools do, and then you understand like, okay, I know what it does. And now that I've done it and I'm coming back and I'm looking at it like, oh, I should fix that. I should adjust that. Like I can make that look better. I was working on another project for students, an example, and it's using, I got the I don't know how like this taupe color is the exact same color of the whale. I don't know how that turned out like that. That's irritating. You can always change it if you need to. So there, I got the whale, the outline of the whale. I need a stroke for this, right? And then a weird shape, this glisten, the sheen. Let's just do, and this is where you can like unfinish. I'm just going to leave it open. So I'm just going to leave it open like that. I'm not going to finish it. I know I don't need to because it's going to blend in with the gradient, and it's just not, I don't need to complete it. How do you know that? Just kind of years of experience. Like, oh, I'm just going to leave that. All right, then boom, boom, boom. Just because I want to be able to see my color swatches. There is this, which is this. But again, when I do that, well, actually, you know what? I think it's this, but a tint. It's that, but a tint. Switch it to the stroke, make the stroke bigger, and then I'm going to do 50%. There we got that. I will change the whale to that. And then I'm going to click on the gradient and do it. Click on the gradient, use the eyedropper, click on that, and it was set up correctly. That's exactly how I want it. I'm not going to adjust that gradient. And there you go. The whale, done in like 5 minutes. So we start adding everything up. You know, we're starting to get all the parts and pieces needed. Of course, I didn't change these clouds yet, but that's okay. But then we just go down. Now, the one that's going to be okay, you can do it, is the water. And again, this is where this is the magic of graphic design. It's the magic of understanding how to build something that you know and nobody else knows, and that it looks super complicated, but it's one group of circles repeated over and over and over. And that's all it is. And it's you're going to make one circle, duplicate it, group it, shift it up to where you want it, leave it, and then grab those and then duplicate up. It's going to be easier than you think. So I want to make this circle group. I'm on water and ellipse tool. I'm going to start, use my shortcut key, Shift and Alt, and I'm going to get it real nice. Again, I'll switch this out. Actually, I want the inside to be different so we can see my differences. I'm going to go to the stroke. I'm going to put on at 2. Oh, watch. No way, I just do this. Just so you can see it. Then I'll switch it to blue. Again, I want to zoom in. I want to see what I'm doing. All right, I got my first ellipse. And again, I'm just going in like, how can I make it even more perfect? All right, I'm going to copy shortcut keys, then go up to edit, paste in place, and then here's the other step: object, arrange, send it back. And then when I make this one bigger, I'm going to hold down Shift and Option or Alt. And all I'm going to do is drag it to the next one. Shortcut keys for copy, edit, paste in place, object, arrange, send to back. Hold down Shift and Alt or Option. One more time. Copy, edit, paste in place, object, arrange, send to back. Shift and Alt and Option. There you go. Now I go minus, 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 minus. Bring that over. I got to see all of them. Now at this point, I'll group this. I don't think I don't need it grouped because everything I do that I'm going to change that one circle with will need to happen with the whole row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group this. I'm going to make one row, group that row. And then that way, when I click on it, anything I do to the one, it happens to the entire row. So what does that mean? Let's do this. I'm going to object group or Control G, Command G, and then I'm going to slide one over. So they're touching. Oh, I'm going to do that better. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit duplicate. Command Control D, duplicate, 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 duplicate. All right, so then if I want, these are all grouped. I'm going to shift this far one, and I'm going to use my arrow key to the left and get it lined up with that. Then I'm going to grab all of them. And I'm going to go down to the beautiful, most awesome tool is Distribute Space. Kapow. Now they're all perfectly, and they're just overlapped a little bit. But guess what? That part's not going to show. But they're all equally spaced. And you did it with one click. It's so rad. And now I have this line. I'm going to group it. Object, group. So now, if I move that, they all go the same way, right? They're all a family. And now I'm going to grab those, and I'm going to hit the Shift and Option. And it's not, I'm going to let go of Shift because it's a little bit off. And then I'm going to get that lined up, let go, Object, Arrange, send to back. And that's your first and second row. Now you can, I don't want to group it. I just want to keep my lines grouped. Now, I just do this again. I'm going to grab these two rows, duplicate it up, and just stop right where it needs to stop. It wants to stop there, which is great. It's got to intersect. Let it go. And if you need to adjust it up and down, you just do it, double check it, and then Object, Arrange, send to back. And then I'm going to grab it, the top two again, just the top two, and keep doing this. Get it up where I need it. Object, Arrange, send to back. Shift and Option again. Object, Arrange, send to back. And this, just do it until you're done. Object, Arrange, send to back. Object, Arrange, send to back. Object, Arrange, send it back. And again, I'm not saying anything when I'm using my keys. It's like two more. Yep. I'm holding down, Shift, Alt, Option. You should just be doing that naturally. Object, Arrange, send it back. So there's that pattern. Super easy. All you need to do is like one thing. So now I'm just going to go row by row. grab that row, and all you have to do, because I grouped it, the whole thing goes. And then I'm going to click on the eyedropper and do the darkest blue. And then I'm going to go over the stroke here, and I have it set up as the darkest blue here. It's already a spot color, but then this is where it gets cool. I'm going to change this to, so if it's 100, why don't I go 5? Oops. There we go. And then now that I'm looking at it, like, no, it's actually pretty spot on the size. Then I go to this one. And you can do this however you want. You can just do it over here. Fill this, and then let's go 95. Enter. And then the stroke is the blue. And let's do 10. And you just walk your way up. I don't like that. Oh, this is 5. Well, maybe I won't do that one. Is it stroke 2? Oh, this is 1. The stroke is bigger on 1. Oh, I see what happened. When I did the copy over, the stroke came. Like the stroke size changed, and I do want it at 1. So this is, and you can play with this. So this would be, 195. This is 90. This is probably the longest part. And this is just maths, type in 90. Do the fill. Uh, 10. To make sure it's at 1. And you just kind of go up. And you slowly just go up and change each one. And that's all I did. Lighter and lighter as you go up to the top. And you just kind of fill your way up. Then you have all these beautiful open spots. Oh, one last thing. This is the glacier. All right. I got to do the glacier. And then we've done everything. Oh, the glacier's over here. You have to move it over. No big deal. Do the glacier and move it over. Our poor polar bear's got to sit on something. This is, again, just a bunch of rectangles. One rectangle. Moving it, grabbing this, and then doing this. I'm just gonna make another, just grab this one, hold down shift. Because it can be as long as, it doesn't matter. And then if you wanted to, if that bugs you, you just grab that small one and move it in. I wouldn't move the whole thing. Yep. And then again, make a copy of that. Grab all 3. I have it is this, I think it's just this again. And then you have it, I'm going to change the gradient. I'm going to rotate them all. Can I do them all? I can't do them all at once. Just change your gradient to run vertically. There's no stroke on it. And then play with the gradient, again, a little bit more. So you get a differentiation between these. So we can do Go back to the gradient. Oh, I'm going to reverse it. Zoom in. Oh, this one's behind. So I need to bring this forward. Object, arrange, bring to front. There it is. Gradient. And just moving these around. Get it to the size you want it. And then I'm going to flip it. The hardest part with working with the gradients is there's like 700 items you can do on one slider. And so you have to wait, kind of like continuously like finger to arrow to pointer to, you know, like 3 things can happen. You got to like, which one am I on? This one, that one, the other one. So then I'm going to grab these 2. Object, arrange, bring to front. And then the last one, what does that look like? Yeah, just standard. Make it smaller or recenter it. Bring it down. And again, how am I doing? Oh, that my hand on the space bar is how I'm moving the screen around. Hand on the space bar is I'm not going back to the hand tool. I'm using the space bar. Again, you will speed your process up by memorizing, like, how can I just use the keyboard to do half of my moves? And it's so much better. Flip it. You know what would have been quicker there too? If I would have just done one, gotten the gradient in and everything, and then just duplicated it. It would have been way faster. But there you got to see how to do the gradient a bunch. And then there's the glacier. And then add your animals as you see fit. You can move them around. You can have some fun with that. And there you go. Any questions, comments, or concerns about this? Again, it's just a lot of repeating. It's a lot of like doing the same action over and over and over. And that's generally what Illustrator is. The more you do, and then too, the more you do it, the more you're like, oh yeah, boom, 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 boom. The first time through, you're like, you're gonna make that circle. It's gonna maybe take like 15 minutes to get the circle right, but then you're done. And then it's just copy and pasting, copying, pasting, copying and pasting. And then that's where the beauty, that's where it really comes in and starts to, like, you know, you'll understand Illustrator so much more. Just like it's a repetitive process. And like I always say, I'm constantly learning new things. I'm constantly, you know, sharing with friends who are illustrators as, you know, as their career. We're always sharing, like, hey, I just learned this. Did you learn this? Did you know how to do this? So it's always evolving. But memorizing the base is what you need to do. You know, quick keys, using your hands, like, to speed up your process, and knowing, like, when I want to build something, it's just built out of shapes. Here I make the shapes, combine them, done. And like, there's a lot of that just comes, you'll build in naturally. And then it's all the other stuff, like, I wonder how I do that. And then you look it up and it becomes out great. So cool. Yeah, I'll check your icons tomorrow, or hopefully I'll start tonight. No, I won't start tonight. There's a graphic design award ceremony tonight that I'll be attending just to see the work that's out there. in future classes, I will tell you more about signing up for. It is called AdWorkers 99, and it is the conglomeration. AdWorkers is a design group you can join as a student. And they have like events, and they have this event tonight, and it's award ceremonies for the best designers in South Wisconsin. I don't know the full range. It's like a little bit, just mostly Milwaukee. And they have a student section, student competition as well. So it's worth checking out when you can. When you're in my portfolio pathway course, you'll sign up for that, and then you'll get notifications when it happens. And I always suggest students go check out what's happening. Rub elbows with some of the best designers in the Milwaukee area. See what's happening, see what's going on. They're usually always free events. So, but with that said, I will check all your icons throughout the day tomorrow. And then you can start on your Ubix cube. Your animals are due tonight, which then once the animals are done, you just knock out the background and finish up your recreation of the Milwaukee Public Museum single panel of one of their triptychs. And then that's what you got. All right. And then the other two quick projects, your words and your typography. You got all week. So cool. All right. You know how to contact me, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.